have better luck with them. She'll slice them into quarter-inch slices. And then she'll scoop out most of the seeds. You don't have to get every seed out, but Min doesn't like the seeds in the recipe. She'll scoop out the seeds, and she'll put them into a large bowl, put all the tomatoes into a big bowl, and then she'll marinate them. And she'll marinate them in olive oil, garlic, a little Italian seasonings. Get some, dried basil, oregano. You can buy a bottle of Italian seasoning. It's on the DVD. And garlic. She'll chop up some garlic. She'll mix that all in with the tomatoes. Let them sit for about 3 or 4 hours. You can let them sit overnight for that matter. And then she'll dry them. And that's it. And what it does is it impacts the tomato with so much flavor that when you eat it, you won't believe how good these are.
How long is it dry?
Excuse me?
How long? How many hours to dry?
Again, it depends on where you're at, because where we're at, it's very low humidity. And when you start making, your house is going to smell like a pizza kitchen. It's going to be unbelievable. And you can take them out when they're half done and you can put them in your salads, and they're fantastic. The purpose for drying them all the way is then you can keep them for 2 or 3 weeks. But if you're making a small batch for yourself, eat them when they're like halfway done. They're fantastic. And then you can store them about 6 weeks. About 6 weeks. I would imagine if you super dried them really hard, like
if
jerky
you dry them hard like that, you can keep all the seafood in the family. You can eat longer.
Keep them in glass in the refrigerator. But you may be able to put something in there to make them last longer. You like them. We're going to be sampling these in a minute. You're not going to believe the taste on these things.
Could you say that? Just everything there? Let's see. The greens or what?
Mint.
Oh, that's
Fresh
the
mint.
Okay, and then...
Jicama.
Okay.
Jicama, carrot, fresh mint, and sun-dried tomato.
Oh.
You could put fresh tomato. If you don't like jicama, you could put something else in there besides jicama. But again, we're not only going for the taste, but we're going for the look of it, the smell of it, and so you like to have something light colored, something dark colored, so you got some contrast in there. And again, notice with all of Min's food, it's how little equipment that we're going to be using to make this stuff. We like to keep it simple. After being raw so long now, probably at least 50% of my diet is just things that I can pick up and eat, like a banana or an orange or an apple. That's mostly what I eat. I'll eat one meal a day like this, where she'll make a meal for either lunch or dinner. And the rest of the day, it's trail mix that we make, or oranges, apples, bananas, figs, dates, whatever you feel like. And sometimes if I'm hungry, I can eat 5 apples, and that's a meal. I don't like to combine a whole lot of different foods when I'm eating. And the longer I stay raw, it just seems like the simpler and simpler my eating gets. And setting it up. But when you eat it, it does pretty much the same thing in your body. Seaweed attracts heavy metals. It attracts a lot of things in your body that your body doesn't want. And then when you eliminate the food, you eliminate that with the seaweed. We take wakame seaweed that Min gets, and basically she washes it about 3 times to rinse out some of it's a little bit dirty from being, it just comes out of the ocean. It's dry. It's how we get it. So she'll wash it 3 times, and then she'll marinate it again like the tomatoes overnight. And she'll use a little different marinade for this. The marinade for the seaweed is olive oil, a little sesame oil, some sesame seeds, a little bit of garlic, and a little bit of chilies. And that's basically it. And some mushrooms, some dried mushroom seasoning. And then we re-dry it again. And that's all there is to the seaweed. I've been eating so much seaweed, and I've been reading there's iodine in seaweed. There's all kinds of chemicals in seaweed. But there's all kinds of chemicals in a lot of things. But there's all kinds of chemicals that your body may or may not assimilate. So just because something is in something doesn't mean that your body is going to assimilate it. You can buy food and then go to any supermarket and buy a carton of milk, and it'll tell you about all the vitamins that are listed there on the milk, but it doesn't tell you that your body cannot assimilate it because it's been pasteurized. It's been boiled and all those things. I don't have it with me, but it's on our website. You have to ask for it, but there's a guy in California who's a supplier of it, very inexpensive, and they have an 800 number. It's on our website, and I'll have it for you.
Thank you.
Somehow before we're over today. The other thing that you can do is you can buy the wild rice at Wild Oats or one of those places. If you have a food processor with the S blade, everybody pretty much has a food processor. Put the rice in there and just give it like a zip, 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 and the blade will crack the outside of the rice. You just don't want to crush it up and turn it into powder. Just zip it a couple times, that'll crack the outside of the rice. And then we soak this literally for 1 day. For 1 day, and you'll be tasting it. And it gives you that rice, you know, it's wild rice is actually a grass seed is what it is. And there's an Indian tribe in Minnesota that has been growing this grass and eating this rice as far back in their history that they can tell. This has been a staple of their food. And I talked to the tribal elders. They explained to me how they make it. They sell their rice. It's incredibly expensive. It's $18 a pound. But this is not that rice. But it's an unbelievable experience. You can just eat the rice.